welcome back, and in this video I'll be giving you some information on extreme programming. So this is a very interesting concept and let's get to see what it is. So extreme programming, also called as XP, is an agile software development framework, or it's otherwise called as a method that aims to build software of high quality and also improve the lives and the working of the development team. So similarly to Scrum and other frameworks in Agile, this extreme programming is another framework that is used. And through the different principles and concepts of extreme programming, it aims to help developers build high quality software, and also when they build, the entire developing journey for developers and the development team needs to be improved, and that's what is the main objective of extreme programming. So before getting into what are the details of it, extreme programming, when an organization adopts extreme programming, it means that even the values of extreme programming need to be incorporated. Okay, so the values of extreme programming are communication. So it's a must that every member in the team needs to have communication, and it's not just communication that is virtual. The extreme programming encourages team members to communicate face to face and also to collaborate using some supporting materials such as whiteboards, drawing boards, etc. The next value is feedback. So teams, in order to improve themselves, definitely need to get feedback from each other. Okay, so the team needs to sit down and get feedback as to how the team has performed, what could be improved, and what is going on well. So based on these feedbacks, the team will be able to continuously improve their performance. The next value is courage. So in extreme programming, having this value is very important. Okay, there should be, the team members should always demonstrate courage, and when we say courage, it is having the courage to voice out or to come out of the barrier of fear. Okay, so there might be certain scenarios when in an organization or in the team there is something that is not going on well. So you need to have the courage in order to come up, step up and say that things are not going well, what needs to be improved, rather than staying quiet and the team gets affected, or there are going to be harmful effects later on to the team members or the project. So always having this value is important. The next one is simplicity. So if you see in extreme programming, as in the next slides I'll be telling you what is the main concept of this extreme programming. Simplicity is something that the team should always have. And when I say that, it is when you develop a product using extreme programming or using the entire agile principles, it's not about building the entire product on the first go. Okay, so you have to first, the main idea is to build chunks of software which delivers continuous value to the customers. So whenever you're building something, always try to keep it simple. Whatever is needed, whatever features and requirements you are very sure about, build that. Don't predict for the future. Don't say that, or don't imagine these could be possible requirements. These could be possible, features that may be required by customers. Don't over, load your product, or don't add more weightage and complexity to your product. So always keep it simple. And the last value is respect. So every member in the team needs to be respected, and also they have to give respect to their team members and their ideas and whatever feedbacks are given. So this is the main values that needs to be incorporated in agile programming environment. So now I'll tell you a little bit of information about the conceptualization of extreme programming. So this was the author of extreme programming who conceptualized and brought out the entire idea of extreme programming. His name is Kent Beck. So some of the points that he emphasized and based on which extreme programming was conceptualized was, the first one is help small teams work with changing requirements. Okay, so now teams, you have a very small team and you're having a, when you're in part of a product where there is always changing requirements. So at that time, extreme programming tends to be a very useful framework because it focuses on small chunks and simplicity, because you're building something simple and then you're enhancing your product. The next one is introduce the idea of writing tests before coding. So usually, normally, if you see traditional organizations and teams, they would code the entire logic and then they would start writing test cases. But according to the extreme programming, the idea is to first write down tests and then you would be able to code all the scenarios. Okay, so it's being more proactive. So that's another idea. Next one is to it is better to pair while coding. So, if you're new to extreme programming, or if an organization or team is not adopted to extreme programming, then you would find this new. Because generally, organizations they would have the development team, each one working on something that's very distinctive and very unique to each one. You don't find more than one developer working on a single code or logic. But here in extreme programming, it emphasizes on pairing while coding. That is, pair programming where two people program for the same logic. The main idea here is for the one person to be the anchor and another one to be a supporting coder. So here you would find that there's a chance of people sharing ideas, and in case one is one there's a time when one coder is maybe making a mistake, or there could be a possible better approach to it, then by sharing ideas and feedbacks you would get quality code. The next one is build something simple that works and then enhance further. So that's what is the main idea here. So extreme programming works well when there's changing requirements. So by that, you tend to build something that's simple, don't overload everything in the first release. But later on, as you start getting clarity on requirements and when there is any new requirements coming in, you can start building up further. The next one is all team members should collaborate. So in extreme programming, it demands everyone to have the value of communication. So it's not everyone working in isolation, every team working in isolation. It forces teams to have cross functional collaboration and communication. And the last one is imbibe values such as communication, simplicity, feedback, courage, and respect, which we've seen in the previous slide. So it's very important to have all these values so that you would be able to practice the extreme programming principles. So this was the idea behind which Kent Beck brought about the extreme programming. So extreme programming is a framework. So in the framework, where you see the framework, if you see the general phases of software development, you have the planning phase, then you have the designing, you have the development phase, you have the testing, and then you have the deployment production phases. So in these phases are going to be still the same. There's not going to be no change in those phases. It's just about adding more value, adding more, I can say, magic to those phases, where in every phase there's a little bit of blend and a little bit of tweaking that was done in order to enhance the entire process. So if you see here, I'm just going to give you an overview, but in the next video I'll speak about each aspect in detail. But if you see here in the planning phase, it's not just one team planning. It encourages the customers as well as the development team to be together in order to plan out releases. The next one is, if you see in the designing phase, there's something called a system metaphors, a simple designing and refactoring. And if you see in the development phases, there is something added to this phase, which is coding standards, pair programming, then a 40-hour work week, continuous integration, and code ownership. And finally, in the testing phase, you have unit testing and UAT. And generally, since you have the feedback phase also, here you would be first reviewing about the sprint, then you'll be having retrospects. So this is the main enhancements or the magic that's added to the existing software development life cycle that brings about extreme programming and better work lives for developers as well as high quality. So stay tuned for the next video where I'll be explaining each in detail. So I hope this video was informative. If you like this video, please do give this a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to this channel and do share your feedbacks. Thank you.